The contact appeared at 0312 Registry Standard, and for 11 seconds I was certain it was a sensor ghost. I am Von Seleth, archivist, third aboard the Catalogued Dreadnought Immaculate Record. And in 14 years of spiral arm survey work, I have logged 3 million discrete objects, ships, stations, debris fields, derelict hulls, navigational buoys, and the slow cold tumble of dead moons. Every one of them matched a file. Everyone returned a registry signature when queried. That is the foundational premise of Keth-Sorvain Authority in this arm of the galaxy. We have a file for everything. We have had a file for everything since before most of the species we catalog learned to smelt iron. The contact did not match a file. I ran the query 3 times. Hull geometry, no match. Transponder code, absent. Species flag, null return. Tonnage bracket, The ranging pulse came back with numbers that sat between our media patrol class and our heavy interdiction class. A gap in the taxonomy we had never needed to fill because nothing flew in that gap. I flagged the anomaly to Senior Archivist Duvrath Ossel on the command deck and watched the catalog board glow with a steady amber that meant, unknown in 14 years, I had never seen amber. Ossel's response came back in under a minute. He had already queried the Immaculate Record's full sensor array and pushed the contact to Fleet Coordinator Yeth Maran aboard the registry. Dreadnought Sovereign Clause, the largest vessel in our 340-ship survey fleet. Maran's reply was short and, I would later understand, exactly wrong. He said, the amber contact was almost certainly a registry malfunction aboard whatever vessel had wandered into our survey corridor. He said we should hail it on all standard bands and wait for the hull ID to resolve. He said that in his 31 years of fleet coordination, he had seen sensor anomalies like this, perhaps a dozen times, and they always resolved. I sent the hail. I sent it on 42 bands simultaneously, which is the full Keth-Sorvain diplomatic contact suite. I included the standard registry query pulse, the species identification chirp, the tonnage broadcast request, and the navigational lane advisory that politely noted the contact was crossing a Keth-Sorvain survey corridor without filing a transnet declaration. The contact did not answer. It did not accelerate. It did not alter course. It moved at a steady 0.4 corridor standard, which is a slow walking pace for a vessel of its size, and it moved in a straight line that was not aimed at anything in our fleet. It was simply crossing. I remember thinking, in those minutes, that whatever crew operated that hull must be confused, lost perhaps, running on malfunctioning navigation. I remember writing in my working log, contact appears non-threatening, likely requires assistance. I have thought about that log entry many times since. At 341, Fleet Coordinator Marin ordered 3 of our registry frigates, the precise entry, tabled motion, and the ordered column, to intercept the contact and escort it to a cataloging position. This is standard procedure for uncatalogued vessels. We approach, we broadcast the registry suite at close range, we receive the hull ID, we file it, and the universe is once again complete and accounted for. The 3 frigates moved to intercept at a combined closing speed that should have brought them alongside the contact within 9 minutes. At 347, the contact altered course for the first time. It did not alter course to flee. It altered course toward the precise entry. Von Seleth, I, was watching the catalog board when the ranging data updated, and I felt something I am not certain I have words for in our language. The closest term we have is the sensation of reaching for a shelf in the dark and finding that the shelf is not where the archive says it should be. The contact's new vector was deliberate, purposeful, and the weapon scan data that came back when our array got a clean look at its hull profile at close range produced numbers that sat outside every hit in the Keth-Sorvain armament taxonomy. I queried the bracket 3 times. 3 times the system returned the same response. No classification available. Please submit data to Central Registry for new entry review. Fleet Coordinator Maran hailed the contact on a command channel. His voice, which I had heard give orders for 31 years without a tremor, had something new in it. He said, "Unidentified vessel, you are in a registered Keth-Sorvain survey corridor. Identify yourself, or you will be considered a hostile anomaly and processed accordingly." The contact did not answer. At 0349, precise entry opened a targeting lock. I know this because the catalog board logged it. I know what happened next. Because the catalog board logged that too. In the flat language of sensor data that does not know how to be afraid. At 0349, the contact fired. The precise entry's hull signature dropped from the catalog board at 034917, 3 seconds. I sat looking at the gap in my registry display. A ship I had filed, hull number and crew complement and armament class and registry date, simply absent, and I did not understand what I was seeing. The Keth-Sorvain catalog board does not have a symbol for a ship that ceases to exist. We file derelicts. We file debris. We do not have a filing category for instant absence. The contact altered course again, toward the tabled motion. I sent a fleet-wide alert. I am certain everyone on 340 ships already knew something was wrong, but I sent the alert because that is what an archivist third does when the catalog breaks. Moran was already shouting orders. The fleet was already beginning the combat and spread maneuver we trained for. 340 ships in a survey configuration reforming into an engagement lattice takes approximately 4 minutes under optimal conditions. The contact did not give us 4 minutes. What I watched over the next 11 minutes, I will attempt to record accurately because I believe that is my function, and I will perform my function until I cannot. The vessel, I have taken to calling it the Ungoverned Silence because it had no name we could find and it moved in absolute radio quiet. Processed our fleet, the way our archive processes a new submission. Methodically, without pause, without apparent urgency. It fired at a rate of 1 discharge every 18 to 20 seconds, and each discharge removed 1 Keth-Sorvain vessel from the catalog board. It did not fire twice at the same target. It did not miss. When our ships returned fire, and they did, every working weapons platform in the fleet engaged, and I want the record to show that we were not cowards. We fired everything we had. The Ungoverned Silence did not slow, did not alter its firing cadence, did not take evasive action. Our weapons struck its hull. I watched the impact data, and the hull continued, scratched, scorched in places the ranging scans could resolve, but continuing. By 0358 we had 190 ships on the board. By 0401 we had 74. 403 the Sovereign Clause, Fleet Coordinator Moran's ship, was bracketed. I will note for the record that Moran attempted to ram the Ungoverned Silence with the Sovereign Clause's 1.8 million ton hull at full drive. He came within 400 meters. The Ungoverned Silence stepped aside. I have no better word for the maneuver. It moved laterally at a speed our taxonomy has no bracket for. And the Sovereign Clause the same way it had filed the other 338 vessels. 1 discharge, instant absence. At 0404 there was the Immaculate Record and there was the Ungoverned Silence. I did not hail it. I had run out of things to say. I sat at my catalog board in a fleet of 1, and I looked at the amber glow of an entry I could not complete. And I understood, in the way you understand something only when there is no time left to understand anything else, what the amber had meant from the beginning. We had built an empire on the certainty that we had a file for everything. We had never considered what it would mean to encounter something that had no file. Not because it was lost or confused or malfunctioning, because it had never submitted one. Because it did not need our registry. Because it had been moving through this arm of the galaxy since before we began cataloging it. And it had simply never bothered to tell us. The Ungoverned Silence passed the Immaculate Record at a distance of 1,100 meters, close enough that our hull sensors could read the texture of its plating. Old metal, scarred and rescared. The accumulated damage of engagements we had no record of because we had never thought to look. It did not fire on us. I do not know why. Perhaps one surviving archivist was the point. Perhaps someone on that ship understood the value of a record. At 0406 it resumed its original heading, still crossing, still unhurried, still broadcasting nothing. I have filed this account under anomalous contact unresolved, no classification available. The amber light is still on.